Hi, everyone. I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. This is your weekly reading where we help you to understand all of the things that you're feeling right now, all of the things that are happening in your world right now. We are going to talk about the collective energy, the energy that is impacting each and every one of us, what you need to know about it so that you can make the most of it as you navigate this week, and so that you can understand the things that you're feeling and the things that you have going on in your world. Let me know how you guys are feeling this energy. I'm feeling so sensitive right now and have been feeling very sensitive. Recently, I think I talked about it last week as well. Like, I just feel like I need to be more mindful of what I'm investing my time and my energy into. I'm being very protective of my time and my energy right now. And this is something that I'm recommending that each and every one of us is doing here in this energy, because I do think that we're more sensitive. I talked a few weeks ago about how we've been getting hit with all these solar flares and these downloads and these light codes that are coming through these solar flares and other things that are happening. And we've been just getting hit left and right. And this is a beautiful thing. It is allowing our bodies, our minds, our energy fields to be able to hold more light, but it's also a lot. And part of what's happening is that our intuition is being developed. Our spiritual gifts, our intuitive gifts are being developed. And so it's making a lot of us feel more sensitive to a little bit of everything. I think that'll balance out. I think that it won't feel so overwhelming. But if you are somebody who's an empath like me, you feel into everything, you're probably feeling extra sensitive right now. Whether it's sensitive in your own life, that's partly what I'm feeling, whether it's sensitive with the collective, like just feeling really impacted by the things that are happening in the world and other people's stuff, and just feeling like you're taking that on. I found it a little bit harder for me to not take that on. I'm actually pretty good at that. I have a pretty good system down, but I'm having to learn how to balance that a little bit so that I'm not taking on energy that doesn't belong to me, because we can be like these little energetic sponges and soak that in, and that really doesn't serve anyone now or ever. And so I've been really mindful of that. And that's really where I want to start, is in this time of heightened sensitivity. Or I was talking with somebody today and he said, my spidey senses feel like they're going off a little bit more right now. And like, that's a good way to put it, I think, is like, yeah, our spidey senses are going off. We're feeling into a lot of things more, especially people who already felt into things prior. And so we have all of that going on. And so we want to make sure that we're being really mindful of the ways that we're taking care of ourselves in this time. What I want you to understand, and if you're in my membership, you know this already because we go through the whole month and I lay it all down, but we have an eclipse coming. So next Tuesday, when I'm here doing this weekly video, that's eclipse day. That is the opening of the eclipse portal with that solar eclipse. And it's a solar eclipse in Aquarius, which is going to, on a collective level, Aquarius for me is very connected with collective energy. I think there's going to be a lot going on in the collective. We can feel that buildup that's already happening. But personally, also, eclipses have this way of moving us to where we need to be through whatever means necessary to get us there. So if something needs to be cleared out of our life, either we're going to choose to do it or the universe is going to do it. There's a lot of tower moments, like the tower from the tarot, that happen during eclipses, right? These destined events, these things that happen that maybe feel in the moment that things are falling apart, but really they're coming together. Although it doesn't have to be so like this outward like destruction in our lives, right? It might be even just be this major shift in the way that we perceive things. We might have these breakthrough moments in the way that we see the world or the way that we see ourselves or the way that we see a situation. So there's a lot of healing that's available with these eclipses. There's a lot of growth that's available, and there's a lot of movement for us to move us where we need to be. A lot of clarity that will come through. And it might not come through, like we always have eclipses, they occur together, right? So we'll have that solar eclipse coming up next week. And then 2 weeks from that, with that full moon, we will have a total lunar eclipse. And so in between that time, things get kind of crazy. And I'm talking about all of this right now because this week feels like the prep for that. And part of the prep for that is taking really good care of yourself, is doing those things that you know that you need to do, especially in this time of heightened sensitivity. You might find that you're not as called to go out as much. Or I was saying to somebody that one of my clients that I met with today, like she actually was needing to be surrounded by her people, right? She was needing more of that. That was what she was needing to take care of herself. I'm more of a internal processor. I'm more of a, like, I like to process it in my own energy, and that's just how I work. But different people are different. And so this is about using the strategies that you know work for you, that help you to be in balance, that help to bring you into balance, because we want to create a, as much as possible, a calm, peaceful foundation underneath ourselves as we are preparing to move into this energy that may take us who knows where, right? The eclipse energy is expect the unexpected. So we have that. And right on the heels of that, as we get to the end of the month, we're going into another Mercury retrograde, which can bring in all kinds of curveballs and things like that as well. So we have a lot coming in. And so this feels like that preparation. And when I was connecting with what do I need to talk about today, I heard that we need to be making sure that we're nurturing our light. So doing those things that may help us to feel light, that help us to feel nurtured, that help us to feel cared for. And we've been doing this for a little while now, or hopefully we have been. And in the past couple of weeks, I feel like I shifted out of that a little bit, almost like I got kind of comfortable with it and shifted out of it. And so I got a really clear message. No, come back to that. Come back to, for me, that looks like a lot of meditation, just being very focused on what I'm investing my time and my energy in. And that brings me to this concept of making sure that we are setting boundaries. The kind of boundaries that you are being called to set now are the kind of boundaries that a past version of you is going to be so impressed with, and a future version of you is going to thank you for. Okay. So as you are navigating through this week, you're going to find, I need to set this boundary and I need to set this boundary. And that's really important for protecting your peace, for protecting yourself. And it's about making it clear what is allowed for you and what isn't allowed for you. And you might hit this week, or you may already have hit this week, this point where you're just like, no, like we've crossed the line now. This doesn't work for me. And so you're setting a boundary, right? And it might be a boundary that you've been thinking about for a long time, but you haven't felt like you had the strength within you to do it, or you've been putting it off and finally you're getting to it. But you might find yourself setting boundaries left and right this week, and you're going to be very supported in that. So take the opportunities as they come. Some of us have a harder time with those boundaries. And this is an opening to say what you need to say when you feel it, to make a change that you need to change, that I can't speak, to make a change when you feel like you need to change something when you feel it. Like this is the week to do that. This is all about honoring ourselves and nurturing our light and making sure that we're taking the best care possible of us. And part of that is about setting boundaries so that we are teaching people how to treat us, so that we are setting boundaries in our work, maybe, or wherever you're feeling called to set boundaries, making sure that you're setting yourself up in such a way that you feel honored. And boundaries are about being honored. They're not about putting up walls. Walls are different from boundaries. Walls are completely blocking things out. And sometimes a boundary does require some kind of a block, but oftentimes we can start with a boundary that's not quite as strong. So you might find yourself like progressing into a higher level of boundary. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe you tried a boundary with someone or with a situation and that didn't quite take, they didn't respect that. So now you go to a higher level of a boundary. But the other part of this energy is also asking for us to have open hearts. This is a very heart centered energy this week. How interesting that we have Valentine's Day this week, right? And so there's a lot of opportunity for us to tune into our hearts, to listen to our hearts. So I want you to make sure that you're doing that and you're tuning in and you're listening to what it has to say. I was just talking about this book last week with somebody, the Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, right? And I think the quote is something like, you'll never be able to escape your heart, so you better listen to what it has to say. This week is very much about that, making sure that we're listening to what it has to say. And in some ways, our heart is going to show us the boundaries that we need to set. In some ways, our heart is going to show us the changes that we need to make, the things that we need to walk away from, because you want to be making sure right now, this is the purge. This energy, I should have called this video like the purge, because we're in the purge energy where it's just like, let go of the rest of whatever you need to let go of. And when I say let go of it, I mean let go on in every way, right? So it might be letting go of connections that no longer serve you. I mean, letting go of possessions that you need to release that are just creating clogged energy within your home or your space. It's it's letting go of anger that you're holding on to that you recognize as holding you back. It's letting go of a situation that you can't do anything about. And this week, maybe you're choosing to let that go. It is a choice. It's a process and it's a journey, but it's a choice. You might be letting go through forgiveness. What a beautiful way to set yourself free. Forgiveness is all about setting yourself free. It's not about the other person. So there's a lot of letting go. There's a lot of boundaries, but also being willing to tune in with our hearts and to have open hearts. I think there's a lot of room for heart-centered connections, heart-centered conversations, all of this. And also, I feel in this energy that there's a lot of layers of healing. So when we're talking about letting go, when we're talking about setting boundaries, this also can be about like getting to different layers of our healing this week. I talked last week, I called the video something like the universe picked that scab for a reason. And we're still in this energy of like things coming up that we're working on healing, because again, we're in this purging energy and it's this opportunity for us to work through another layer of the healing so that we can release it. Because I feel like we need to be as light as possible for these eclipses. I want you to think about yourself just kind of, I said in my membership, like being on a magic carpet ride. I want you to think about yourself being on that magic carpet ride, and I want you to let the wind take you wherever that magic carpet wants to go during these eclipses, to allow the process that wants to happen. But if that magic carpet, because a magic carpet is going to bring you magical places, right? Period. But if that magic carpet is all weighed down with a bunch of shit that you don't need anymore, that you've been carrying out of whatever, that you're truly ready to let go of, that's going to set you free. It's going to allow you to move and be moved where you are destined to be. And so we want to put ourselves in a really beautiful place of detachment as best as we possibly can. This means letting go of attachment to specific outcomes, of attachment to things needing to work out a specific way. I know that's hard because, of course, we want certain things, right? But detachment is going to be always your best friend, but especially here in this energy. Just saying, you know what? I'm good either way. I'm good with wherever this goes because I trust, I have faith in my higher power to lead me to where I need to be. And that's, you're setting yourself up to be taken into some of the best opportunities of your life. I feel like during these eclipses, into some of the best connections of your life, to creating space for the best connections of your life. Because some of this is about creating space for these things to come in. But we have to put ourselves in the position to be able to do that, right? If your magic carpet is weighed down and cannot be moved with where this is going, then it'll just be more of the same. It also, we need to be willing to shift our thoughts with what we're now understanding to be true, right? It's been really hard for me collectively to watch the way that the stuff that's being pumped out to the collective to manipulate everyone is so much a topic of conversation every single day, so much a position that is dividing us, which is the whole point of why did you ever notice there's always a new thing that we're arguing about? What if we chose to let that go? What if we said, you know what? I'm going to just love people the best that I possibly can. I'm going to detach from all of this stuff, like other people's agendas that they have for me. And I'm going to just see where things go. And I'm going to try my best to love my neighbor, whether they believe the same things as me or not. This is what we're being invited to do and what we're being called to do. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but don't fall for it. Be careful with that, right? Like this is, you came here to be love. And that's what we're meant to do with one another. And I know that's hard. And I know that we're still very much in an early phase of learning that. But the less that we're so attached to these things that are really what other people want for us to believe and other people's agendas, the better. So can we take a step out of the matrix a little bit, out of the storyline that's going down in our own personal lives, but also the storyline that's going down in the collective? Just take a step back and look at it for what it is and recognize, okay, so I'm learning this lesson here. Okay, great. Or what is happening for me that is a cycle that's happening on repeat? And if this were a game, approach it like a game. If this were a game, how might I approach it differently to win this game or to level up in this game? I think we have a lot of opportunities to do things like that. And when we take that step back and we try to detach emotion from it, a lot of times we connect with our intuitive voice much easier. But it also allows us to see what we need to see and to do what we need to do, to take an action that maybe emotionally is harder for us. So this is tough stuff, but we're being invited to level up. We're being invited to choose better for ourselves. And part of choosing better for ourselves is to not get caught up in all of the fear-based toxic stuff that our brains are telling us and that the collective is telling us. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Jay's saying, I'm seeing this more and more that people are actually waking up. Yeah, I think we are collectively waking up. And that's what this is about. And I think these eclipses are going to be about that as well. So if we just kind of allow ourselves to come at that from this place of detachment, it's better. It's going to serve us very well, I guess. So just keeping all of that in mind as we're doing that, but also being mindful of like where we need to set these boundaries. What boundary? And by the way, some of those boundaries might be with yourself. How much of your bullshit is coming to the surface where you're like, yeah, I've got to like make a change with that. I know some of my bullshit is coming to the surface that I'm becoming aware of. And it's like, okay, so boundary set with myself. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, like, what's a boundary you guys are committed to making for yourself. Megan saying, you always have the most perfect words of wisdom and advice to share with us, Christy. Thank you. The way it resonates is incredible and continues to amaze me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. That's so important to me that I'm able to do that. So thank you. And thank you guys for being here live and for all the comments. I see you guys out there. Jay says, my bullshit is off the hook. Yeah, like all of us, like we're human, right? And we're learning. And that's the thing. Like you guys, we came here to learn and experience this. And we have a front row ticket to the awakening of the planet. How cool is that? So let's not get too caught up in like the little things and instead say, you know what? Show me the magic. Show me where this can take me. Take me on a magic carpet ride and show me where this is going to go. I don't know if there's a carpet emoji, but if there is, hit it in the comments, okay? Or just say, take me on a magic carpet ride. But let's go. Let's do it in a way that's lighter and be willing to be open to the experiences, be willing to things happening differently than you expect them to, be willing to let yourself be vulnerable, and be willing when you recognize that something is not right, that needs to be part of this purge that we've been going through. You don't want to take that into the year of the fire horse, which by the way happens, we shift into that next Tuesday too. So that's a huge day. We have the eclipse. We have shift into the year of the fire horse, which I've been talking about for months. Okay. So that's like the energy is going to move forward. It's going to stall a little bit with that Mercury retrograde coming in, but it's going to move forward. And like, let's go, right? Like, let's take care of the loose ends, tying up the loose ends, doing what we need to do. And let's take care of it because you deserve that. You deserve the absolute best. And sometimes we don't know what's always best for us, but we're always being guided. We're always being shown. And I didn't pre-shuffle my cards, so we're going to pull them live. Let's see what we got here. I'll pull them and then cover what they mean afterwards. So the 7 of Wands, the 4 of Wands. Okay, so a lot of wands already here. Action, movement. Next up. I don't know what's coming up for you guys. Are you feeling that pull to kind of move more into a place of neutrality rather than polarity? That's like, I swear to you, every single time that I detach, Hanged Man, and 7 of Pentacles, every single time that I detach, like that's where the magic happens. And I don't know how many times I have to learn this lesson because I always fight it before I surrender it and say, you know, I'm going to like just let myself be detached from the outcome. And you guys will hear this from me again because I'm a stubborn Taurus and that's just how I am. But you know, that's where all the magic happens. Okay. I knew she was coming out, Queen of Swords. Okay. Let's talk about the cards. 7 of Wands. Okay. So we've been through some stuff. We've got some stuff coming our way, right? But look at the way that like he's got this stuff coming his way, but he's on higher ground. He's got his wand and he's ready. He might have things coming at him, but he's ready for this. He's got this. And you've got this too. You're in a position of power. And anytime that you allow yourself to see it from a higher perspective or from a detached perspective, or take that step back away from the emotion of everything that's happening, you just ask, what would be truly best for me in this game of life? And you make a decision from there, you're going to be successful, right? So I feel like this is like, go to higher ground, take the high road too, right? We want to be handling situations from the high road. We don't want to be petty anymore. Like that doesn't feel good anymore. That doesn't work anymore. It might feel good for a quick minute, but like it doesn't serve you for the long term because you know that you came here to be loved. Jay's saying, I'm curious about that Queen of Swords. That Queen of Swords is everything that we've talked about in this reading. So I'm not surprised to see it. We will definitely talk about it. So, Seven of Wands. This is like, defend yourself where you need to defend yourself, but you know what? Sometimes it's not worth having the battle either. And so, where do we need to walk away? Where do we need to choose our battles? And where do we need to walk away from them? And is this worth the fight? And if it is, then fight for it, right? But if it's not, then it's not. I also get the sense of like being open to what wants to come into our experience with this card. Four of Wands. There's a really beautiful heart opening that's happening here. So we may find even maybe with Valentine's Day, right? Maybe you're being asked to like take your relationship to the next level. We also have that Knight of Cups, so that wouldn't surprise me, or some kind of an offer to take a relationship to the next level. This is also a coming together, and I feel like specifically like for people who have like a soul connection, you might find that you're coming together in some way, maybe just to have a conversation, maybe to work through some things with someone that you have a soul connection with. This is also about celebrating life, like romanticizing life, finding those things in life that are worth celebrating, finding those moments that are worth celebrating, even just over the course of your day, right? Where does that breakfast that you're eating, can you take a minute and just like appreciate it a little bit more? Really taste it, really appreciate what you're eating, appreciate your coffee. Every single day I'm like, oh, my coffee, I love it so much. And I always have this moment where I'm just like taking it in, and it's this moment of appreciation. Can we have more moments of appreciation? Can we celebrate now instead of waiting until some other point, right? Can we celebrate the progress and how far we've come? I also feel like this is your guides and your angels saying you've come so far. Celebrate it, because I feel like for a lot of people in this energy right now, like we have come so far and so many things are happening, but that brain of ours starts to go, but what about this and what about this, and it tries to pull us back into old stuff, and it's like, no, let yourself keep going forward and moving where you're being led. And you may feel a pull to move towards someone and celebrate with them, is like part of what I'm feeling with this energy. It might be a celebration of coming together with somebody, and it's like, yeah, like we worked through some really incredible things. I just think that there's a lot of openings for that, but some kind of celebratory energy. This might be you celebrating you for a boundary that you set, and you're like, that would have been really hard for me, but you know what? Again, I'm setting a boundary now that past me would be so proud of, and that future me is going to be so grateful for. Seven of Pentacles, we might still feel a little salty about where we're at with certain things, right? But see the way that she's looking at that tree, like a little salty, right? Like, okay, it is growing, but maybe it's not the full grown tree that she wants it to be just yet. But we have to keep investing in ourselves, in the things that we're working on, and to recognize the progress that we've already made, and again, to celebrate it. And to that mindset shift is really powerful. And maybe that's part of the boundaries that you're setting with yourself, is how you're perceiving it, how you're framing it in your mind. And can you shift that a little bit to allow you to recognize the growth and the things that are happening? For me, one really powerful shift in my life was when I really started to get to that place where I believed that things were not happening to me, that they were happening for me. And this is a belief that I hold, and this is how I approach my life and my world. So even if something bad happens, it's like, okay, that's because that needed to be cleared out of my life. Like if something ends or whatever, it wasn't right for me. or it wasn't right for me right now, or whatever, right? Redirection is God's protection. And so just honoring how far we've come and recognizing the gifts and the blessings. Let's see what I'm just reading comments here. Jay's saying Jesse calls the Pentacles worth, and that changed the whole framework of how I view those cards. Yeah, it can certainly be that. Like to me, it's like your time, your energy, your money, like the thing, the material world, right? And I love that concept of worth as well. And we have a lot of wands here, and worth for me is connected with wands too. So it's like knowing your worth, knowing your value enough to set those boundaries as you need to. The Hanged Man. Now, allowing ourselves to take time and really listen to our hearts, our intuition. What does your heart have to say? And when once you know, then you get to make a decision. You get to move because the wands are saying move, right? There's action here. Once you know, take that action, whatever that is. And it's okay to pause and reflect and to really tune in with yourself. I think this energy is really going to support that so that you can get the answers that you need. You know, I had a friend reach out today and was thinking about having me do a reading for her. And then we decided not to because she's like, you know what? I just really want to tune in with myself and trust myself. And that's like the best thing you can do. That's amazing, right? Like this can help to show you the blind spots, but at the end of the day, you still have to take this and apply it to your own personal life and listen to your own intuition on what it is telling you. The next card, Knight of Cups. So again, might be some kind of a romantic offer, a heart-centered conversation that is happening, or heart-centered effort. Like some of this can just be Valentine's Day stuff, you know, but this can be a proposal. It can be, hey, let's have a relationship with each other. I'm feeling a lot of relationship energy here this month. And so that makes sense to me. It can be a very romantic energy. So some of you might get really clear on, oh, this is what I want to move toward, and you might move toward it, or this is who I want to move toward it, and you might move toward it, or you might figure out that I want to move away from something as well, right? But this is really typically some kind of offer coming in, or an offer that you are giving that is connected to the heart. So once you're clear on that, again, make your offer, accept your offer, whatever it is that you need to do. But also know, Queen of Swords, she's the queen of boundaries. She's very fair. She's willing to listen to what you have to say, but she also knows what's up. She knows what works for her, what doesn't. And she's very clear on that. And so she's very mindful. I was saying at the beginning, let's be really aware of what we truly want to invest our time and our energy into. And she by the way knows her worth. Talk about worth. So as you become clear in this purge of things that need to go, things that no longer align, people that no longer align, experiences that no longer align, you get to clear it out. You have the power to do that. And I feel like some of this stuff is stuff that's been nagging at us for a long time. It might be a choice. Like part of what you might be clearing is a choice to just see it from a different perspective, or to be open to new perspectives, to be open to hearing what other people have to say. Again, she's very open to listening. She says, come on in, let's have a conversation. You might be having a conversation. Maybe it's a very heart-centered conversation. And then you're in a position, or other people are in a position, we're all in a position to decide, does that work for me or doesn't it? And we get to do that. But I think part of this is about tuning in and really saying, does this truly work for us? I've been talking about truth and truth coming to the surface for months now. And we're still very much in that energy. And I think a lot is going to be bubbling to the surface all throughout the rest of this month. And we want to allow that process to happen. And usually when we get out of the way, when we detach and get out of the way from trying to control it, that's where that stuff comes through. So lots of stuff going on. I hope that this connects for you. Let me know if it does. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for your comments today. This is great. So many comments going off. It's so nice to see you guys here watching. I love you all so much. If this resonates for you and you think that someone else needs to hear these messages, please share it with them, or share it, or like this video, subscribe to my YouTube if you're watching on my YouTube, whatever you feel called to do. All of it helps for these messages to get to where they need to go. So I appreciate you guys so much. I love you all. I will see you next week on Eclipse Day, Year of the Fire Horse Day. And maybe sooner. Who knows? Probably I'll be on here sooner. We'll see. So I will see you guys soon. Bye.